Hey guys, Max Marcy coming at you today, and today will be the first day of our rebuild restoration on this poor Traxxas Lash. As you saw in the beginning, in the intro, there's really not much going on with this Lash right now. Body is pretty beat up, really beat up actually. And honestly, we're gonna go on ahead and we're gonna just go through this thing real quickly, see how it looks, and see what needs to be swapped out and what needs to be replaced. So we'll take off the body. I missed. So first and foremost, let me bring you guys over here for a second here. Alright, as you can tell, there's really not much going on here. These were the wires for the ESC that we ripped off. That ESC was pretty much gone, I was told. Broken, cracked, no good. The servo, I'm hoping the servo still works. The chassis itself looks to be in okay shape. I don't really see any cracks, any breaks on it. At least nothing that's the chassis looks like a pretty decent shape. So we'll definitely be replacing these little pieces right here. It does have some Proline body mounts. It also has front Proline shocks as well. Obviously there's no motor on this thing. There's really nothing to take this thing home. So we're gonna go ahead, and what we're gonna do, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna open this thing up first. We're gonna see what we got going on inside the receiver box. So with that being said, I'm going ahead and we're gonna take our trusty toolkit. This is probably one of the best toolkits I've ever bought. It has everything that I need, to be honest with y'all. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna open it up. And we'll see what kind of surprises are hidden in here. Bring you guys a little closer in here so you guys can see a little bit better. I hope that's a little better for y'all. And with this one, I'm not too concerned with the hardware, with the screws. They're pretty rusty, so we'll probably be replacing those as well. Honestly, the Proline shocks in the front is probably the best part of this car at this moment. Alright, so we have what looks to be a pretty decent Traxxas TQ receiver. I don't know, I have some hope for this receiver actually. What I don't like is the way that the antenna's flopping around here. I don't know if the antenna's broken or what the deal is here. And the antenna cable is frayed a little bit, unfortunately, so that's gonna be somewhat of an issue. Let's see if I can, yeah, get this the right size. Okay, let's get this out of here. I want to see if I can save the antenna somewhat, but I don't have high hopes for it. Okay, so this piece right here is not letting my antenna come out. So let's see if we can just open it up a little bit. Now, I don't know a lot of history on this car or who owned it beforehand. I got it from a buddy, and he had gotten it from somebody else. So let's hope we don't damage the antenna. Yeah, okay. We broke the antenna, but that's okay. Honestly, we were gonna be replacing this anyway with something else. So, and I can already hear, well, you weren't being gentle with the antenna. Yeah, well, that's because I really wasn't planning on saving this receiver to begin with. That's why I wasn't being gentle with the antenna. Otherwise, I would have been much more careful with it. Okay, so these bolts don't look too bad. I spoke too soon. They're actually mismatched, so yeah. We'll probably be replacing all the screws, or at least some of them, throughout the rebuild here, because we might as well. Having mismatched screws can be a pain in the butt. Okay, so we'll take this wire off. And again, when it comes to the original ESC that was in here, this wire itself, I know it might be a little bit difficult to see, but it was already frayed, which is why I wasn't too concerned about it. That ESC was trash anyway. Now, as for the top qualifier, well, it's pretty obvious at this point I don't care about this receiver, so there. Garbage. See, now these kind of leads I kind of like to save and keep, mainly because they might come in handy with something else, but with these ones, I'm not even concerned about them. Everything's gonna be trash at this point. This is the one for the servo, which we'll definitely be testing. See if the servo works, see if it actually... I mean, I have hope for that servo. Let's go ahead and let's put this guy back here. And for the time being, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna put the bolts that it came with back, just so that we have a a nice little working point. A little starting point, if you would. Now we're gonna get that antenna nut back on here. Now the new receiver, I'm thinking I'm gonna go with Dumbo RC when it comes to this. That one, I don't think I'll be too concerned with the antenna in general. Yeah, zip tie was holding together the ESC. Can you believe that? Take that off, and of course it looks like those two holes were actually drilled on there so that they could zip tie the ESC. You know, you would imagine, in all honesty, you would imagine that if there's no way to mount an ESC, instead of drilling holes or instead of using a zip tie, there's a thing called double-sided foam tape that works wonders. It's common sense. Alright, so where'd the other bolt go? Here we go. Okay, we're gonna be testing that servo, but we won't be doing it now. We're gonna be testing it later on, once we start working on our electronics and before we place an order for it. Actually, I know, because I do have, now that I think about it, I do have some spare servos that I can use for this thing. Should that servo not be good. So we're gonna hold off on testing that servo for the time being. Right now, I'm more concerned about another part of this build. So we already know, and we're gonna start making our little checklist, that we're gonna need a radio, a receiver, basically a whole new radio system. We obviously need a power plant. Question for y'all. What should we use? Should we go brushed or should we go brushless on this thing? Let me know it down in the comments. Now we're gonna... Okay, that should do it for now. Alrighty, so then let's go on ahead. Let's take off the wheels. And that way we can have access to the transmission. Okay, so the rear wheels are actual. They're Prolines, the Badlands. The Proline Badlands. I mean, looks like they've been, I'm not sure what. I'm not sure if they came glued. You guys tell me, do these wheels usually come glued from factory or did they have to glue them themselves? See, I'm telling y'all, I love this toolkit. And not necessarily the brand itself, but because everything, basically, to take apart a car is in that same toolkit. I don't have to be carrying my actual giant RC tool bag with me. And like I've said before, it's always a good idea to put the parts back where they belong. Now for this guy, we're gonna make it easier. We're gonna go on ahead, we're gonna take these two. I'm gonna pop them out. Or at least raise them up a little bit. My eyesight is not what it used to be, people. It is not what it used to be. Actually, we're just gonna go ahead and take off the hole. I think it's gonna be right here. We're just gonna go ahead and take off the whole thing. Because also when we get the new body for it, I'm not sure if we're gonna go with magnetic mounts, which honestly, if this is gonna be a basher, we're definitely not gonna go with magnetic mounts. But we'll have to see how we're gonna go about it, what kind of body we're gonna be using, colors, all that fun stuff. One more, and that should bring off the body mount setup. And like I've said multiple times, we'll put the bolts back in here so that we don't lose them and we know where they belong, where they go to. Okay, that ought to do it. Gonna put this out of the way for now. Now let's go on ahead. Let's take off the wheelie bar real quick here. What I want to see, what we want to see right now is what the transmission looks like, and if we're gonna need to work on that, if we're gonna need new transmission for it, or what the deal is going to be here, which I know it's going to be a little bit of work to get to it, but it should be worth it. Actually, hold on a second here. And there it is, the wheelie bar. So we're just gonna go on ahead, we're gonna put both of these back in here. Now y'all gonna have to forgive me, I usually don't work on Traxxas vehicles. This is, yeah. So, it is what it is. After this, what we're gonna do, we're gonna go on ahead, we're gonna be going to a hobby shop. Well, I'm gonna be going to a hobby shop so that I can actually start getting some parts for this car. Alright, now that that's taken apart, let's flip this guy upside down. Now we're gonna take off. We're basically gonna take off the whole rear end right now, so we can have an easier workload instead of having to lug around the whole car. And we'll see how simple it is to take off the rear end, I'm sorry. Oh my goodness, this poor car was abused. Which I'm like, who would have thought, huh? I just realized we're also gonna be needing battery straps. But I think I might actually go with some soft straps, and actually that wasn't that difficult to take off the rear end. There we go. The rear end is completely off now from the car. I'm gonna put this to the side for now. We're gonna put these bolts back because this is not gonna be a one-day thing, so we don't want to lose any of these bolts. Even though more than likely we're gonna end up replacing most of these, we still don't want to lose any of these current bolts, because some of these bolts, even though they're rusty, they're still okay. So for the time being, for what we were building and everything, these bolts will serve us well. And of course, you don't have to go all the way in, because we're gonna have to take everything apart again. So, and while I have the car upside down, we're gonna go ahead and take off the side protectors so I can take them with me to the hobby shop. Side protectors are off. Okay, so just like that, we got the back half of the car taken apart. It's all set. We're gonna be working on this guy. We're gonna pop this guy open. We're gonna see how the transmission gears look, and well, the spur looks like we're gonna need a new spur right away. I think we're gonna need a new spur. So we're gonna start taking this thing apart, and we'll go from there.